Doesn't matter to me if you do it. Doesn't matter to anyone if you do it. And if you do it and you like how it works and you're satisfied with it, then that's the thing you should do. Hello, I'm the Bun. Welcome to the channel. This is the 411. This is a show that's all about you. All about your comments, your questions. Today's show is all about going way low. I think a lot of people who watch the channel are usually in B or C or A or something like that. So this show is more for those who want to go down to like the F's and the E's and maybe even lower than E, like really low. We're going to talk about how to get better results, how to get worse results, how to care, and how maybe you don't need to care. Maybe what you're doing doesn't require you to care. What is in the news today? The Jazzmaster Baritone. For all of you who have the Jazzmaster Baritone, something to check is if the electronics go to ground. Is there a ground wire that goes out to the bridge or to something? Seems like, generally speaking, no. There is no ground wire for anything. So this seems to be part of the attribution of all of the noise problems. The Jazzmaster pickups are notorious for being noisy to begin with. Most of these Jazzmasters that were shipped have no ground. Reverb.com, they put up a whole thing on parts casters, and PremierGuitar.com has for quite a while now had a little segment on adding a baritone neck to an existing Telecaster, Stratocaster, what have you. I'm gonna share both of those videos down below. I think a lot of people are at home and a lot of people have a little bit of time to take on some of these kinds of projects. This comment was left on the Den Electro 56 baritone video, and this comes to us from Nicholas Durans.
I really like the sound of the Den Electro baritone. What strings can I use for tuning to F standard? Are the holes on the tuners big enough?
Nicholas, how are you? I hope all is awesome with you and that you are, playing a lot of riffs. I hope you have some extra time in this interesting time that we're living. Den Electro, it's very long. It's 29.75 inches in scale, meaning that it's gonna accommodate low F or F sharp, whatever you wanna do here. What is it, F sharp? F standard. So F standard, no problem on that guitar. And you don't need to have like gigantic strings. All Den Electros are going to be the same scale length, which is 29.75 inches in scale when it comes to baritone guitars. The benefit of this guitar and its gigantic scale length is that you don't need super giant strings. I have one here, so I didn't have to drill anything out. The strings fit no problem. So currently I have this tuned to G standard and it has the 14 to 68. The strings are maybe a hair too taut for me. Might be able to do the, the 13 to 62 for F standard. I don't know. I would start with maybe the 14 to 68, and if they're too heavy, then go down rather than the other way. The heavier strings are gonna work for sure, but too light of strings may not work. Yeah, the strings will just go right on, no problem. You don't have to worry about drilling out the tuner, and it's good to go. This guitar is perfect for F standard. I've done quite a few videos about strings for baritone guitars. And the very first one was a Stuck with the Bun video. It was either the first or second Stuck with the Bun video. And it was called, what was it called? Video, it's called Strings for Baritone Guitars. That's a pretty, You'll find the links to all these videos down below if you want to check them out. But yeah, Strings for Baritone Guitars, number one. Number two was 7 or 8 brands, 7 brands of baritone guitar strings compared. And then the third video was super low baritone guitar strings. And that video is probably the most helpful video because it goes through like how to choose strings. It sounds like it's such a basic thing. How to choose strings? Well, you just choose some strings. Well, a lot of people end up with strings that they don't like, or a tension they don't like, or a situation that isn't working. I hope that helps, and let me know where you land. Leave a comment or send me an email or something like that. And yeah, just let me know how it worked out. And I hope you have an awesome day. This comment was left on a past episode of the 411, lower guitar, higher bass, and this comes to us from Maddie B.
How do you feel about the Architect's tuning, where only the note that requires a baritone scale is the low string? I'm playing in E, E, A, D, F sharp, B. B standard with the low B drop to a bass E, and finding it a really dynamic approach to tuning super low.
Maddie B, how are you? I hope all is well, man. Like, are you riffing the riffs today, or are you, dreaming about riffing the riffs? And if that's the case, then you should pick up the guitar and riff the riffs. Yes, these sort of like open-ish kind of tunings, I guess. It's not an open tuning, but I can't live outside of standard tuning, so I shouldn't be speaking about this. Point that you raise with this tuning about scale length versus tuning versus intonation is a good point, because yes, only the lowest string is going to be a problem. And if you're going that low, so if you're going octave lower E, it probably doesn't matter that it's out at the 12th, because who cares? You're going that low, you're not playing up at the 12th. Or maybe you are, and if you are, then you just have to accept that it's like gonna be super sharp. You're gonna run out of intonation adjustment completely. It won't intonate. You'll never get good tuning up the neck with the lowest string. But like I say, I don't think it matters. We were talking about earlier in the intro about caring and not caring. I think this is something to not care about, because you want those low notes. What is that super low string all about? It's all about those super low notes. You don't really care about playing high. You can grab those notes on the next string because it's an octave. If you want the octave, just go to the next string. This is an interesting one because you don't have to care really. You can just change the way you're playing. Like, I don't need to go up to the 12th on the low string because the next string right below is that note, and it's better because it's an open string and it has more tone. So yeah, Matt B, good point. Thank you for sharing that. It will be useful to other people. This comment was left on the strings for baritone guitar video. It was a stuck with the bun video. And this comes to us from InFlames 0048.
I want to put my 28-inch scale baritone guitar in drop E tuning. What gauge is the best?
InFlames 0048. How are you, man? I hope all is well. We get this question a lot, not only in the comments of all the videos, but also on the Baritone Obsessed Facebook group. If you're not part of the group, you can join the group. Just answer the questions to get in, or else you won't get in. 28-inch scale guitar in low E tuning, drop E tuning. I'm not gonna offer a suggestion. For me personally, and also technically speaking, 28 is way too short for low E, unless you don't care about any notes past the 3rd or 4th fret. Otherwise, all the notes are going to never tune. You're gonna run out of intonation adjustment. Somebody else was asking about intonation, and they were like, oh, where's the math to figure out if the intonation is XYZ good or not? I'm like, who cares about math? Just do it and find out that you run out of intonation adjustment. You don't have to do any math. All you have to do is try and intonate a guitar that is outside of the range of tuning, and you'll realize really fast that you will run out of intonation adjustment. And the more you compensate, the more you pull the saddle back. If you go back too far, then lower parts of the guitar become out of tune. In order to compensate, like if you have a lot of intonation adjustment, if you have too much intonation adjustment, it actually works against you because the lower part suddenly starts going out of tune in chords and stuff like that, and the higher part starts coming into tune. So there's actually a narrow range of intonation adjustment, and with drop E on a 28-inch scale baritone, it's not going to tune very high up the neck. So I'm not going to make a recommendation. If you want to do it, you should do it and figure it out for yourself. Doesn't matter to me if you do it. Doesn't matter to anyone if you do it. And if you do it and you like how it works and you're satisfied with it, then that's the thing you should do. A lot of people will have you believe that this music thing, like things have to be perfect and da-da-da-da. Actually, no. Only if that's the kind of music you want to make. If you're chasing pop production values, even if you're making metal or whatever, but if you're chasing like those production values that are really high production values, then it matters. Everything matters. But if you're doing like intentionally going for a dirty thing, a thing that sounds like it's almost failing all the time, that's a sound. That's a creative decision. So maybe that's the case. And if that's the case, then just do whatever works. Slap a giant string on and maybe it works. This comment was left on the 8 baritone guitars compared video. And it comes to us from Bas Peters van Ningenhoef.
Do you think a 27-inch baritone is good enough for drop E? The ESP black metal baritone seems pretty sweet.
Bas Peters van Ningenhoef. It's hard to say though. Bas Peters van Ningenhoef. That's my accent. I don't even know if you have an accent. Question is very similar to the last question, except even more extreme. You want to use an even shorter guitar. So, sounds like you haven't bought this guitar yet. Whereas the previous In Flames 0048, he already has a 28-inch scale guitar and he wants to do something very extreme with it. You want to buy a 27-inch guitar and you want to do something very extreme with it. So similar to the last comment, question, answer, there's no reason why you can't do it, but I'm not gonna make any recommendations. Or actually, I'm gonna make one recommendation. You haven't bought this guitar, you should buy a 30-inch scale guitar. You can do drop E on a 30-inch scale guitar flawlessly. I know you like the look of the, what is it? The ESP black metal baritone. ESP makes like 3 baritones. They make an Eclipse, a Signature, they make the Viper, and they make a Horizon. So I'm not sure which one you're talking about, all 27. ESP, if you're watching this, like, where's the long baritones? I hope that like helps you out in some way, or maybe you're just like, you know what, I don't care, I'm getting the 27 because that's the guitar I love. And great, I do have 2 videos about this topic. 6 baritone scale lengths, a rough guide, that is a Stuck with the Bun video. It will be down below in the description. And short baritone guitars, it was a 411, kind of a recent one. As well as, let's see here, super low baritone guitar strings. That one covers scale lengths and all that kind of stuff as well. This episode is brought to you by the fine folks with me over at Patreon. They are Adrian, Andrew, Anthony, Baguette Roulette, Ben, Dennis, Derek, Eric, Aaron, J. Cruz, Jack, Johan, Cairo, LD, Liam, Mile, Nick, and Tim. These are the folks that have made this episode happen. If you'd like to get involved yourself, all the information for that is down below in the description. If Patreon is not your thing and you're like, F that Patreon stuff, bun, I have music available for download and stream. You can find that at all of the typical vendors, the Spotify's, the Apple Music's, the Bandcamps, all of the above. There are a few special nuggets on my Bandcamp that aren't anywhere else, so a little tip there. If you hate my music, which is totally acceptable, I don't make the best music in the world and it's not for everyone. So if my music is not for you and you're like, I still want to help out, you can do that with merchandise. I have merchandise available on my website. Everybody who has helped out in all of these ways, thank you very much. I appreciate it greatly. You guys are what make this whole thing what it is. You know, I can do it, but if people aren't showing up, it's nothing. I hope you enjoyed this episode and I hope to see you in the next episode.